What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Luis here in Palm Springs, and this is the Selected Series podcast. And I just want to let you all know that we're thankful for all you subscribing, for everybody reposting and sharing. We appreciate the love, and we got something special for you in this episode here. And as you can tell, we're here in front of Las Palmas Brewing. And a few weeks ago, we threw a networking mixer that was just a really good time, and we got to meet a lot of the entrepreneurs from out here in the Valley. And of course, I got the Selected Series team with me here.
What up, guys? This is Disco.
Yo, this is Red.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know that this is going to be a fun episode, and we're here with two of our favorite entrepreneurs in the brewing game.
That's right.
And not only brewing, but the wine game as well. So we'll get into that later. So with that said, guys, I'd like to introduce. What's up, Ray? What's up, Sam?
What's up? Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah.
My name's Ray.
Yes, sir.
I'm Sam.
So, obviously we're here. We want to know your guys' backstory. So, how did you guys first meet? How did this all start? How did the Las Palmas Brewery start?
You go first, Sam. So, it was my 28th birthday party. My wife had rented a Muni car in San Francisco, where we were living at the time, and so a bunch of my friends showed up, and then there was this random dude there too, and he was like, "Hey, what's up, man? I'm Ray." I was like, "I don't know who this guy is, but he seems pretty cool."
Tight.
Yeah, so honestly, yeah, Ray and Stacy, Ray's wife, showed up that day. They were friends of friends, and long story short, like, he saw me eat like 6 sandwiches, and he was like, "Damn, dude!" And then we drank some beer. We brought the keg from the Muni into Dolores Park, and
That's cool.
Nice.
and drank some beer, and honestly, from that day on, Ray's been a good friend of mine.
Damn, dope.
You remember what you guys were drinking?
Was it something I brewed or Morpho?
I think you brewed something at Cerveceria.
That's what's up. Nice.
Yeah. So at the time, I was brewing at Cerveceria right there on the corner of the park, and I probably brought one of my beers to my party.
Nice.
Nice.
I don't remember, honestly.
So how long have you been brewing for? From that point, how have you been brewing for?
From that, that was 5 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been brewing for probably 7 years or so.
Okay. So 5 years ago stemmed the idea of Las Palmas, or how did you guys decide, like, what, this is something that we want to do?
From that day at the park, they laid out a blanket, and they just thought of their Palm Springs getaway.
The dream.
You want to take that, Ray?
No, that was like way earlier.
Word.
When we first met, we just met, and like he mentioned, it was his birthday party. So the way it all got started, I would say, after hanging out that day on his birthday, he asked me to come by where he was working at Cerveceria. It was right where Dolores Park is in San Francisco, and just how it always goes, where you meet someone and you start drinking with them, and you start telling yourselves like life stories, and before you know it, I'm telling him that I'm working at this like kind of like a bougie wine bar in the financial district in San Francisco. And I mean,
That's perfect for the mic, though.
Okay. And I must have had enough to like tell him, just like, I hate my job. Like, I hate going to work. I don't know how long San Francisco is gonna last. been here for about 2 years or so. And that's when he mentioned, oh, like, I work at this like little brewery just around the corner here, as we're like on this hill of Dolores Park. And mind you that we're like just how we're sitting like this, but we're actually standing up. And there's a pony keg between us, little 5-gallon vessel with a party pump, probably, right?
Yeah.
And excuse me. And he's like, oh yeah, like I work at this like little brewery down there. Not sure if you ever been. And about a week or two ago, mutual friends of ours now, but at the time, my friend Kay and her boyfriend Daniel took me there. And that was the first time that I was introduced to like a small microbrewery, but teeny, like a closet size, right? And I was like, man, this is so cool. Like San Francisco's got these like little things that growing up out here, I never ever saw anything like that. And so whatever. So I'm just like, yeah, dude, I have been there. That place is really cool. They got this red beer. It's a hibiscus beer, Jamaica beer. So, you know, like, damn. I was really into it. And long story short, he's like, come by next time you're around the neighborhood. You know, we'll talk. So maybe a week later or so, my wife now, but Stacy, my girlfriend at the time, we were walking by, and just kind of how these have like big open windows, this shop had the same thing. And then I was like, oh shit, look, like there's Sam. And Stacy, my lady, was like, oh, go in there and say hi. But of course, like you can't just walk in there after like, I mean, I'm not sure like how we can talk on this radio, but like we were fired up. Like we drank for like 14 hours straight. Like, so it's like, is he gonna remember me? I was like that one dude at the party that kind of crashed the party. And Stacy basically just shoves me in the door. Go in there. Hey Sam, what's up, man? Do you remember me? He's like, of course. Like, you know, Sam always, dude. What's up, man? Big ol' hug. Just wanted to say hi. He like sends me on my way with like some more beers and with his number. He's like, call me back, man. Like, don't quit your job, but
I'm working on something.
I might have a couple shifts for you.
Sweet.
So next day, call him. Hey man, like I'm interested in that job. As time goes by, I start with 1 shift, 2 shifts, 3 shifts. 4 years later, I'm like fully in that company.
Man. So shout out to Stacy for shoving you in there, right?
Shout out to Judy, his wife, for
shout out to the
organizing that. Yeah, shout out to the wives for organizing the event and putting us literally on the same train.
Yeah, honestly, our wives should be doing this podcast. They like to talk. We don't really like to talk.
So then you worked there for 4 years? How long did you work there?
I worked there for, I would say 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then he was probably there for 2 or 3 years more.
When did you guys decide, all right, it's time to go back to Palm Springs? Because, I mean, you're not from here, but you wanted to come back? Or how did it all play out that way?
It was Sam's idea.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, so, classic story, like, growing up in LA, the desert was kind of, you know, it's in your orbit. It's definitely like, I would come out here a lot, so.
Getaway vacation spot.
Yeah, just to come out with the family and relax a little bit, get out of the hectic hustle and bustle. And so, anyways, like one of the first things that Ray and I actually talked about was like, he was like, oh, I'm from Cathedral City, you know, Coachella Valley, Palm Springs area. And I was like, I love it down there. Like that, I consider that borderline my second home. So anyways, actually Hawaii is my second home, but
nice.
But that's a long story. Yeah, so really just kind of like becoming friends, you know, kicking it at work. We drank beers. Like we basically like to do the same things, which is like pretty much nothing. And we would just chat. And, you know, when you're doing something and you're working really hard, you kind of always have that like seed that plants in your mind. You're like, okay, I like I like what I'm doing, but what would I do differently, or what would I do the same?
That's right.
And so, you know, bartending is one of those jobs that sometimes you're slammed, sometimes you're kind of chilling. And Ray and I had a lot of time just to kind of chat and just talk to each other about, you know, what we wanted to do and whatnot. And really, it was just kind of like, Ray always says it was my idea, but it was totally mutual in the sense that, like, hey, immediately I could tell we worked well together, and I really respected the guy and trusted him. So it was just like, you know what, this is the type of person that I would like to work with, whether it's my business, of course, like.
That's wonderful, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's so that's really what kind of, like I said, kind of got the ball rolling. And the more we talked about it, honestly, there's a story that Ray always tells, like, he and I were on another, like, 10-hour, I call it, like, magic carpet ride through San Francisco. In the Sunset District, and like, we're sitting there and talking about the desert and our idea, and and basically I was like, I just got a call from a realtor. I was like, I bought a house in the desert, and he thought I was kidding. But you know,
sorry to interrupt, but you got this place in the desert. So had you already, like, pictured, you know, what you were going to do once you came out here?
Oh yeah.
So you had that all envisioned, or like?
Yeah, I mean, we were
as an idea.
You guys had like the name and the logo and all that stuff.
No. I imagine just like, you know.
And how long ago was this?
Cool.
Yeah, so time frame wise, I would say that was like almost 3 years ago.
Okay. Got it. Now, okay, so were you guys, the brewery that you guys met at, you were bartending at it, you weren't owning it, right? You were just bartending at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
I was managing it, and but like part of that was, you know, I was actually brewing there, bartending.
Yeah. So somewhat like just control the day-to-day kind of thing?
Yeah, like kind of just day-to-day. And actually Ray was doing the same, like we kind of all did the same job. We bartended, we brewed.
So you didn't see it as too much, or did you see it as a challenge to own your own brewing, or not really?
Oh yeah, of course.
You saw it as a challenge?
Yeah.
Okay. Even just managing the day-to-day at the spot you were at, you saw it as a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I think we both understood that it's one thing to manage a spot, and it's another thing to literally, like, you're the adult in the room.
Got it.
There's no one to turn to. But a great thing about having a partner, honestly, we talk about this often, is like, you know, we have to be the adults in the room, but oftentimes I'm like, hey, Ray, what should we do?
Yeah, of course.
So sometimes he has an answer, and sometimes he doesn't. Usually he does, though.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about a partnership.
So how was that transition from managing, from bartending at this spot to now owning it?
Night and day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the managing role, so just to backtrack a little bit, would be that there's a point when we were co-workers where he was my manager, and then he was making his way out from managing the bar to moving to another brewery and taking on the role as like basically lead brewer. And that was something that he probably wanted to do more than babysitting bar staff. So when he did that, he gave me the good word to our boss at the time
to take over,
and said, hey, like, I got someone for you.
Cool.
It's Ray. Like, Ray will do it. So the significance about that was that the bar that I took over that role was a fresh, like a clean slate, meaning like it was brand new, no furniture. It was a laundromat. It was fully gutted, and it was given to me just like, here you go, like,
run it,
dress it, run it, you know.
So that's where you learned how to run this.
Yeah, that's how. I mean,
you've been doing it for a while before that, but like, when you guys
got to practice, you got to somewhat practice, right, on somewhere else before executing this on your own.
When you guys go back and forth, and like sometimes you say, I have to be the adult in the room. When you lean on Ray, do you lean on Ray a lot? or do you guys do 50? It's kind of like a mutual thing. Because I know that you like to be behind the scenes, and I know you like to be in the back and being that master scientist in the back and making the dope beers. When it comes to decision making,
Yep.
you've told me before, like, you really trust Ray on this whole journey. And when it comes to that, do you let him do it, or you guys both have to
Well, I
agree
think it's
when
mutual.
when it
Sorry
comes
to
to like
interrupt.
making something? Do you guys both have to say yes, or do you say, oh well, Ray took care of that, or how does that work?
Well, I think at one point during the whole like LP process from nothing to something, there was one point where we just kind of like took our strengths and then just brought it to our corner, and I feel like we've kind of made this line where like, because at first it was like, oh yeah, we'll both do everything together, but then just the way things are going, I think we just, that's why we're good together, because without having to explain it, it just happens. So now I feel like anything and all things that have to do with beer,
Yeah.
it's just Sam.
That's right.
And then Sam
Can you put the mic up?
Sam trusts me to do like all things more like operations, like in terms of like when the doors open and
Got you.
That's right.
the way things flow inside
Yeah.
and stuff, because
The day to day.
the day to day, but they're both equally as
And
important.
you guys are
but-
both
Exactly.
like have the
Exactly.
ability to do
E-
both
either
things.
or.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
dope.
I'm sure it was important to establish, you know, you take care of this, I take care of this kind of thing. I'm sure that took like several conversations, and then that just makes it more efficient. That way, one person isn't too worried about, oh, is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? You kind of just establish from the beginning, you take care of this, I take care of that, is what it seems like you're saying.
dude, it's like a home. It's like in a home you split the house
Yeah.
That's right.
into two in
Right.
a way, you know, like at the end of the day it's like it is a home, but one person handles this,
Exactly.
the other person handles that, and
Yeah.
you work better, and don't cross that
Yeah.
line. And I feel like it's worked.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know.
That's
That was-
beautiful. No, I see it. I see the
dope.
chemistry is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to jump in there, the cool thing is kind of what Ray said. We didn't really have to have that like concrete discussion about it. It was more like we kind of look at it. Ray always talks about it like a restaurant, you know. I'm the fat guy cooking in the back, and he's the beautiful man up front, just saying what
The handsome model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like bringing the people in, you know.
That's
And
right.
so it's, yeah, if you have good food and you have good
And
service,
you got the face, yeah.
then you're going to be successful. And really, like,
There it is.
you know, that I don't think a lot of breweries think of a brewery that way, but you know, we like to think that we're trying to do something slightly different than the typical
right.
brewery.
Yeah.
But you also leave the ego like outside of everything. Like
Yeah.
and that's what's very powerful. The
Yeah.
ego just stays out of it, and you guys are.
Yeah, I think that's why it attracts a lot of people. I mean, I think your guys' demographic of regulars that come is because you guys are just, you know, what's up? Come in,
Yep.
come through.
Yep.
You know, some of us know you guys from back in the day. Contrary to some of us, are just real new to. You know, I've never met Sam before Las Palmas, so I've known Ray of you since like the Epidemic days. So it's cool to be able to come in here, and it does feel like home. You know, it's like seeing some of the regulars that come in or old friends of ours and whatnot. So it's dope to feel comfortable. And sometimes when you go to a certain bar or whatnot, it's just like coming in like doing
No,
that.
but he
Hey,
is
what's
what
up?
Sam said. He is that that beautiful man that's greeting you at the door.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've never seen one person.
Thank you.
I've never seen one person walk in and not be greated.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know
Sure.
if that's like.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Oh, that's nice.
It's all good. Run it.
Yeah. Run it.
that's
No,
that's
go
really
ahead.
it. If you want to ask any question about Las Palmas, we could sum it all up. It's like everyone is welcome.
Yeah.
We hope you come in. We hope you enjoy yourself. But just whoever you are, come on in.
Come on in.
You know?
So,
That's right.
So I kind of want to know. I never asked. I'm sure some boys have asked. So Las Palmas, how did that name come about? How did the logo come about? Give us a little backstory on that.
That's all, Sam.
I mean, Las Palmas just came from, the neighborhood right here.
Right.
It's like kind of a very old neighborhood in Palm Springs, and we kind of came up with that name, and it was kind of like a lot of things with LP kind of meant to be, in the sense that we landed right here. Frankly, like, this wasn't our goal to be kind of in the bullseye, but that's where we ended up.
Dope.
So that's really kind of the simple story of Las Palmas, the name. And then the logo, we have a good friend, or I have a friend originally that I had met in Peru, actually, but he's from New Zealand. And he's a designer. So when we started working on this project, he helps me out a lot in just like different things. He's a very creative dude. And we were kind of like, Ray and I actually talking about laundromats. I really like laundromats in San Francisco, and there's a great one on 18th Street, 18th and Guerrero, basically. It just got all that like time capsule laundromat vibe. And so we met in there, and we talked to Brett. He was in San Francisco at the time, and he kind of got our vibe, and then he just came back with like, just basically like, he's not the type of guy who like presents like a very concrete idea. He's more like, here's would you say that's accurate, Ray?
Like he came at you with like
like a rough sketch almost?
No, like 100 different things.
Okay.
Like, oh, look, here's
Like,
a snake wrapped around a palm tree, and here's this and that.
like a mood board kind of thing.
Exactly, like a mood board. And honestly, Ray, one day was just like, I came into the
Headquarters.
AKA
my apartment.
Yeah, exactly. His apartment's quieter than my house, so we always meet there. And he was just sitting there, and he was like, what about this as the logo? And he had kind of pinpointed, because we had gone back and forth about like what would be the kind of like, the logo,
The
really,
logo, logo, yeah.
And when I saw it, it was just like,
Was it on the board that you're home?
it was on the board, yeah. But it was like I
But
said,
just like tucked in there on the side.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Was there anything that you were almost like leaning with? Like, is there a story behind one that you like almost chose and then?
Yeah, there is. I mean, why not talk about it? Like, I think
Why
go
not?
back a little bit. At one point, we were going for a golden hour.
Oh,
Right?
Okay.
Was it golden hour?
Are we talking about logos or names?
Both.
I mean, I think this all goes
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it. So
yeah,
it's
right,
like,
yeah.
I think it was like golden hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember just like him like
I'm glad you guys didn't pick that name.
him saying that was just like golden hour, and like I remember just being extremely excited.
You were excited, I'm sure you were.
Because growing up here, like there is like, as cliche as it sounds, there is
A
that
golden hour.
hour
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the season. And he hit me up. He was like, actually, never mind, scratch that. He gave me a list of reasons why. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I can't remember if a Christmas light was one.
Well, no, yeah, Christmas light. I mean, that was just more like, it's like,
That got pretty serious for a while.
yeah, the Christmas light. Well, we were trying to find a website, so we were just sitting there like typing in websites.
URLs.
Everything you could come up with, guaranteed is a brewery
Oh,
already.
man.
So eventually we typed in like Christmas lights. It must have been Christmas time, and it was like available, christmaslightsbrewing.com. And I was just like, I'm down if you are.
That's hilarious. Man. Good thing you guys didn't go with that, man.
Now, but anyways, later on, he's like, Las Palmas, classic, he said. And I think his reason for that was because it's already a name. It's already established.
Yeah.
It's timeless.
It's part of the
Yeah.
community.
We don't have to explain it.
Yeah.
And if we do, it's just like, we are in Las Palmas.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
So just something like that. And we've always chose to decide on things like that are like timeless and relaxed, and
That's right.
Not too out
know.
there. Yeah, I got you.
you never have to explain our, like, oh, like, what you guys called yourselves, like, Black Drape.
Yeah. you gotta come out. You gotta tell them every time what it's
You
about.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, no, Las Palmas. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Super classic. And going back to about the logo was, Sam's friend Brett just gave us a book of options.
Wow.
And he went from
That's wonderful.
super modern, like clean, like very hipster,
Right.
to like pretty cursive,
Gotcha.
snakes around palm trees, just everywhere.
Super detailed.
And then somewhere in there was just a little can that you just like threw it in there.
Yeah.
And I think we were about to print our first run of shirts, maybe like a month after we signed the lease. And we just kind of wanted to like bring it back from the dead. Because by this point we have already been, like Las Palmas has already been like talked about for like maybe like a year.
Oh, okay.
And I think I said, hey, like let's make some shirts, hand them out to friends and stuff, kind of bring it back.
Yeah.
And we were gonna run, I forget what shirt it was gonna be, but I got the cold sweats like right before like I submitted it.
Yeah.
I was at my buddy Glenn's shop, Windmill City Screen Printing.
Shout out them.
And he showed me everything, the way it was gonna look, and he was like, ready when you are.
Yeah.
And like I just froze. I was like, wait. So I went back, went through the lookbook, and I found that little like squiggle, and I was like, this is it right here.
Okay.
And then he came into my house. Like,
Yeah.
At this point, he was just like walking into my apartment, no big deal. And then I was just like a mad scientist, just like doing this, and I was like, dude, by the way, I switched it. It's gonna be this now. And he was so over it. He was just like, dude, whatever. Like he literally was just like, do whatever you want. Like,
What?
because that's how it got to that point where like no matter
Yeah.
what you do, I'm sure you guys dealt with it.
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah, for sure.
no matter what you do, what you call it, it takes some time to be established, and sometimes you do get lucky and you like hit it. You know, you hit it right on the spot, but
So you must have just been so convinced that your idea was a good idea that at that point a logo or a name was like the last thing on your mind. You just wanted to.
I mean, I wish I could say that, but honestly, Ray and I are the type of guys that like painfully pour over details. And,
Yeah.
you know, like
Perfectionists.
we're perfectionists. We're casual. We want it to be natural, but at the same time, we're like, frankly, we don't take things lightly at all. So, but I mean, I do think Ray's right. I probably said like, dude, whatever you want, because at that point I could tell Ray was fired up on it. But but I think it's brilliant. Like frankly, I love our logo. I couldn't imagine a better thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
To represent us than a can. You know?
Dude, this shit's iconic.
Like, yeah.
Makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah, and I do want to say that like Brett King, who designed the can, brettking.co.nz.
Shout out, Brett King.
Right here.
That's right.
Please check him out if you're looking for an amazing designer. But anyways, honestly, I love our logo, and yeah, we didn't say whatever about a lot of things, to be honest with you.
And there's like a wine logo
bad.
now too, right? I saw
Yeah.
the hat, the new. Well, at least I've seen. That's the first time I've seen it. That's dope, man.
Let's get into the wine.
Wait, before that.
Okay, before we get
real
into the
quick.
wine.
Because you said you didn't want to be here in the bullseye. What did you mean by that? Where did you want to go before that? Because you weren't supposed to be here, right?
I wouldn't answer that.
Answer it.
Dude, Sam's always had this fantasy of like basically finding a garage and wherever it may be and just have 2 taps and then just say, this is what I have. Which one do you want? Number 1 or number 2?
Okay. So if it was up to Sam, you'd be in a garage.
Interview 1 and 2 back there.
I'd be on
That's it.
Perez Road in your city.
Got you.
Yeah. Okay.
And for and for a
Nice.
minute, we were actually deep in the Cathedral City City Hall, or
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, making plans.
we were looking for a spot in Cathedral City, which like hits home to me.
Same. I wish you were there.
But and it was, I mean, I'm not sure we should say it out loud, but like it was,
You can say it quietly. You can whisper
Yeah.
it if you want.
yeah. For a minute, we were gonna be like at the Epidemic building.
Oh.
Okay.
Shit.
Just in
okay.
the back.
Out the
Dang.
back. Got you.
And we were in the city every day, but it turned out to be parking was like unacceptable or whatever. But I think that would have been great too. But I'm glad we're here.
Damn.
Of course.
Yeah. That's dope.
And
that's
Hey, that doesn't mean you can't stop trying.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can expand.
Hey, oh yeah.
And I think this spot,
Or
after
Papa.
like we combed the whole like Palm Canyon block, and also we got a lot of like heat from friends and family when we were saying, "Oh, we're gonna open up off like Del Yermo and Ramon." Everyone just like looked at us
Damn.
sideways because everyone was so excited for us, and then we told them we were gonna like be in this like random little area. Right? A lot of people were just like, "Why are you
Yeah.
gonna do that?" Like,
I mean, looking back on it, it was for our best interest in terms of like they were like.
Did they think
Ray
you
and
guys were
Sam-
gonna sell short, like sell yourself short?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like these guys could do something like.
Yeah, shout out to your support for,
Yes.
believing
Yeah.
in you.
Your family is very strong. Both of your families are like super strong pillars for you guys to.
Yeah, I've seen them here. I've seen them here at the shop. Drank with them, so I know they're just as committed to it as you guys. That's cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of our listeners, we try to uplift and motivate them, and they come to this podcast and they're looking for answers. So for somebody starting up, looking to open up their own brewery, like what kind of advice would you guys give to them?
for a brewery specifically.
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe just even starting to make beer. Like, how about that? Even that's even more simple. Like, cause I talked to a buddy of mine, and he said that you guys are involved with like a beer club or something, or is that not you guys? No, that's over there.
No, it's Desert Beer.
Desert Beer.
Yeah,
Okay.
but our good buddy Devin over at Desert Beer has been very supportive to us, and he hosts the Coachella Valley Home Brewers Club.
Oh, cool.
Okay, dope.
So
That could be maybe somewhere they can go and
yeah, if you're a home brewer in the Coachella Valley, definitely reach out to Devin. Super friendly,
Yeah, he's
good
he's
guy.
super awesome.
and he'll fill you in. I don't really know the details of when they meet or whatnot.
Oh,
but-
gotcha.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys can still answer that question. I mean, don't shy away from like maybe giving somebody. For me personally, I understand that you have to go out there and find your own. Like you have to go out there and find what you like. But there's some people that are kind of teetering or kind of just going back and forth with their mind and trying to figure out what the best thing to do. Like, what would you guys like if you ran into somebody in your shop and they were asking you about it? What would you tell them?
Well, specifically regarding a brewery, I would say you gotta do your own thing. I think a lot of breweries that fail is because they kind of try to do what they've seen other breweries do. For example, people are like, "Oh, you're gonna brew on a 2-barrel system in the desert, like that's small," you know.
Yeah.
But they didn't fully understand what Ray and I had. The way that we looked at things. So, I mean, really, like, you could use this for any business. I think if you start any business, you're going to have a million opinions. And of course, your close friends and family that you really trust, they're going to give you their opinion. You're going to have to think about that. But I think ultimately, you're going to be most successful if you do what you think is right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, that's great
You're,
advice.
you're putting your time and money on the line. So
Those 2 barrels, that's what you guys are running off of right now?
yeah, so 2-barrel system, basically a barrel of beer is 31 gallons. So the largest keg you see is called a half barrel. That's 15.5 gallons. And we yield 2 barrels. We probably brew somewhere around 75 gallons per batch, which in the grand scheme of breweries is tiny. Like we would be classified as a nano brewery. I look at it as a brewery, period, because we make beer.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's what we do is honestly beyond handmade.
So to give the listeners and viewers kind of a little background, how long does it take to brew like a weekend's worth of beer?
A weekend's worth of beer.
Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not the whole week, just the weekend. Because
Or on what level do you guys brew on? Like,
Yeah, so the process is basically a brew day is a full day between, as any brewer knows, between probably 8 and 12 hours, depending on how well it goes.
Jeez.
Or maybe like 6 and 10 hours.
Okay.
And then from that point, depending on what style of beer you're doing, from that day until it's on tap is about for me, I'm averaging around 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
So from brew day till on tap. Sometimes it's a little shorter.
Yeah.
I'm using some interesting yeast that works better in warmer temperatures here in the desert that actually ferments faster as well, because typically the warmer the yeast is, the more active it is.
Okay.
But like lagers, for example, can take months, but we only brew ales here.
Oh, gotcha.
Cool.
But in terms of like last weekend, that was weeks worth of work that went by in 2 days. You know,
Jeez.
so it's definitely a labor of love in a
Yep.
certain way.
So do you have a favorite type of beer that you brew? I mean, do you have a personal favorite?
I do actually. I would say the first beer we ever had on tap, table beer. I like a small,
Yeah, that was bomb.
like sessionable beer. I mean, I don't really like that term sessionable, so I wish I hadn't said it. But just like a beer that you can drink, you know,
Okay.
like just something that's just like you're barely thinking about it, except for like at the end, you're kind of like, whoa, damn, that was good, you know. Okay. So that's what I like.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you guys are writing over there in San Francisco?
They actually advertise if you guys are interested.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
So get into getting a little back. We were talking about the wine. So natural wine. Can you guys explain a little bit? You know, to people.
Yeah,
that
why the
don't
natural
know?
wine?
Like I don't know. I love the wine here, by the way.
These
So I mean,
spirits.
just explain it.
That's all
a
right.
little bit. Hey, wait, and to go a little back, being that you worked at that wine place in San Francisco, so are you
Was
kind of
that-
like
that have
the
something to do
wine
with it?
connoisseur of the team kind of thing? Is that?
Are we giving you too much credit?
No, man. Like, I mean, I grew up drinking like Mickey's and like Tecate,
And there you go.
Yes, sir.
you know, like skateboarding. Like,
Right.
I never thought that I'd be into wine, but
Okay.
I think this like particular kind of wine, like natural wine, to me like resembles a lot of like what like craft beer could be, and it's just like it's unique and it's different and it's hard to find, and most people don't like it, and the people that do like it, they love it. So I think that's why it all kind of like full circles. But I mean, long story short, I was working at a wine bar, but this was like a classic, like modern day domestic wine being imported from like the south of France, retailed for like triple of amounts.
Real bougie
and it was
stuff.
just like these big old goblets, financial district, and I was just really out of place. I needed to pay rent, so I was
Yeah.
working there. And it's just coincidence that now I'm into wine again. But I actually like started getting into natural wine when I started hanging out with like friends that I made through beer, that in their friend circle they had friends that were really involved in the natural wine game.
That's right.
So just me being like a night owl and just always like where are we going next? Like whose house we're going next to? Like I started meeting people that were really involved in this, and they just showed me the way, told me what it's about, and every time I took it, like, hey, try this, like, try that, it just got to the point where I was like, dude, this stuff's really good.
Yeah.
And I think even like what turned me on to wine, and now when we get a new box of something and I show Sam some stuff, I can see like when he's like, whoa, this stuff is good, because it's random, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, Ray's love of natural wine has very much influenced our beer program. Just in terms of like having that, you know, a little more rustic, a little more old world.
Gotcha.
You know, like. So yeah, I mean, I love our
Just
wine
like
program.
spontaneous. It's just spontaneous.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like, natural wine is really just an old world way of doing things. Before you start pumping soils with synthetics, and
Got you.
you start manipulating the wine in the vineyard, and you start, you know, aging it in different barrels,
Yeah.
and like you start like whatever you're trying
Where's all this beautiful wine coming from?
So
A lot of different places.
Usually European wine, like just like small, like off the grid, kind of punk winemakers that are going against the grain and just saying like, you know, like not all wine has to be like super pretty and perfect and like bold and but
they're in the same lane as you guys when you guys are making your beer. Kind of, you guys are affiliating, kind of like the same procedure with the wine, with the beer and everything. Yeah. You guys are in, you know, you guys aren't trying to go get that bougie wine, you know.
Yeah.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like these are small batches, so they can like be actually really expensive. But
gotcha.
It's more about like the community and like the culture and like how it's like where it comes from and why it's and you know and why it is.
Do you
what
hand
it is.
select or are you trying different things out?
So the same people that I was telling you about, like all these friends that I've met, like they got the best jobs. What they do is like they go across seas, mingle with these producers, hand select what they want, and they bring it back, and then they share it with their friends. And those friends are people like Sam and I, and, you know, like other like small little like like homegrown shops that do that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Wow.
So we're getting hand selected wine.
So yeah, so it's like it's not that I pick these wines, but like I just have like the honor of like knowing these people that I've spent like birthdays with, camping trips with, and like this is what they do, and they share it, and like that's what the whole community is about. It's just about like, you know, it's like just drink it while we have it, man.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
So,
that's super dope.
So we threw a networking mixer here. Thanks to you guys for allowing us to come in and hold that down and host that. Do you have plans on doing more kind of events like that, or what's your idea behind having events of that sort and serving beer and stuff like that? Like, what's the idea behind that?
I mean, I feel like I don't think this will air before, but you know, this weekend we have our grand opening, and like moving forward, I think Sam and I we love like collaborating with people.
Cool.
Where we can invite them into our space and like use the space as a venue, and if you have an idea, you can bring it to the table and like
If it works, it works.
That's awesome.
or like just let's make it happen.
Yeah. Right.
I've noticed that you guys have been bringing a lot of community into your shop, and that's very wonderful. You guys are uplifting and helping others, you know, get recognized and build and put money in, you know, in their pockets as well. You know,
Yes, sir.
That's great. You guys are sharing the wealth. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, and to that point, like Ray said, if someone comes to us with something that is community focused and makes sense for us, like, you know, we're very happy to be the host.
Dope.
So let's get into what your overall purpose of starting this, you know, nano brewery here.
I got 2 kids.
To be boss.
yeah, no, pretty generic question.
Let's be honest.
To be bosses, bro. They want to work for themselves. Yeah. It's such a beautiful job to me. You guys are living the life.
I mean, I'll get a little serious about it, you know. I mean, I grew up here, you know, and I grew up in Cathedral City, and I grew up where, like, my parents used to borrow addresses to get me into different schools because they were afraid of, like, or they were over, like, all the drive-bys and stuff like that, and even if we just lived across the street, it'd be a lot different. So just being able to move away and come back and know that something like this, which is completely like different than growing up, but I just want to be back in the neighborhood, you know, and like to me it means a lot. You know, I never thought that I'd be doing something like this.
Yeah.
You know,
That's awesome.
like so that's
Also, a cool story that you told me was your idea just behind the whole outside layout of your brewery. Like, what
We're sitting there right now, right?
Yeah, what we're sitting at right now. Like, what was the whole? Tell us the story about how you came about designing this place.
well, I mean, we want to keep it simple, but I think like the two-tone
Yeah.
kind of want to like do like this was probably more me than Sam. My bad, Sam. But it was like more like paying homage to like just like my roots, my culture. In Mexico, a lot of like buildings are two-toned, and these two tones are the same colors as my grandma's house, the house that my mom grew up in. So,
Sick.
I mean, to that means the world.
That's
you know?
cool. I know you even showed me a picture of it.
I have a photo.
Yeah, you showed me a photo
I'll show
of
it
it.
to you.
and
Maybe we can throw it on.
Put it in right here.
I have it on the speed
yeah.
speed flop.
And it's cool. And it looks
gotta see it.
super similar to it too.
Wow.
And she even had like a no parking sign on the front, but it was parking in Spanish. It said no estacionamiento, and it's like crossed out. I'm like, dude, this looks really similar to it. That's cool. That's a cool touch that you added to it. What about the whole, like the vibe inside is very, mellow. It's super welcoming and warm. Like, how'd that come about?
I think that was just like Sam and I always meeting halfway on everything. But ultimately, being able to like travel and explore and like see like places, just taking places that he loves and that I love, and just taking little like things from each of those places.
Gotcha.
And just kind of meshing it in. I mean, I feel like a lot of musicians and artists and like wherever you are, like that's what you do, right? You take inspirations,
Right.
Definitely.
and then you mold it into one, and then you try to make it yours. So
That's right.
You definitely bring a feel here.
Yeah,
Something
that's
different
Definitely.
that's my take on it, but I'm not sure what you think, Sam, or what.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same. It's like, if Ray and I happen to live in an apartment together, it's like you live in a house with your wife or your significant other. That place is a representation of you. So
Yep.
I would honestly say everything in there, if you walk in, hopefully you feel like, that's or we definitely feel like, I would say.
Lee. Sorry, guys. Deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, long story short, I agree. It's just kind of like,
Take him home.
damn, bro.
Take him home.
Who's cleaned that up?
Me. After.
You're mopping the whole place up now because of that. Washing all the dishes, all
Anyways,
that.
was the restroom designed by you, Sam, or was it Ray, or was that all the places you guys ever been to? 'Cause these guys got mad inspiration in there. You guys got picture frame happy.
I can't remember whose idea it was, but I think it all started with Sam's friend. I could be wrong, so excuse me, Ben. But I'm pretty sure like Ben was out and about like on a good one and just found one of the roses pieces. So if you walk into the rose bathroom, it's behind the bathroom. It's just like this like 4x3 piece of plywood, and it's like this beautiful like chipped up kind of thrashy art piece. And he was just like, just use this somewhere, it'll work. And then I feel like that kind of sparked everything. Like, oh, like what if we did one floral and then one, and I think we just like eventually just chose seascapes.
Yeah, ocean.
Ocean.
I like the
Nice.
ocean.
Yeah.
And actually, the ocean, one of the main ocean painting in the second or the first bathroom that you get to was hanging in the space the first time we walked in here. So that's actually like kind of like a node to
The old
place.
building.
yeah, what came before us, I guess. I don't know.
All right. So Ray, you used to work at Epidemic, the skate shop in Cathedral City. And, growing up, I used to go there all the time. I think we all used to
Same.
go there all the time.
Used to live down the street.
Yeah, that was
Shout
a
out to
cool... That's right. That was a cool spot. Tell us about your days working there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Del Yermo Street, the beer that we'll release on the grand opening is called Del Yermo.
Sick.
And it's a collaboration beer that
go.
Sam and Glenn, the ex-owner of Epidemic, brewed together. So
Wow.
little like tip of the hat to that, right?
Wow.
But
That's dope.
no, man, I worked there for 7 years, dude. I started working there when I was like 14 years
Yeah.
old. $5, like $5 an hour.
Shit.
Met a lot of my best friends there. I think that skate shop really taught me like work ethic, and it taught me to if I wanted something, I need to like work for it, and then when I was able to get a hold of it, I would take care of it. So I owe a lot to that place, man. And
That's cool.
I worked there from 14 till I was 21, and then I moved to the bar, and now we own a bar.
Did
Like just like that.
did you were young, dude, when you started working there? So did Glenn ever have to play like this? I don't know, like this kind of like father figure, kind of like just give you advice or
Big
give
brother.
you like, yeah, or like big brother kind of thing, like keep you out of trouble?
I mean,
Because you're a
not
skater.
really. I think he had enough on his plate, but long story short is that I owed him $1 too, because I asked him for $1 to take the bus to go skate in Desert Hot Springs, and I didn't have enough money. So the next day, I came back and I paid him back the $1, and he gave me a job, and like that, just like I feel like that just
Crazy.
sent it, you know,
Yeah.
like.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
And I mean, I remember like going to high school with you guys and stuff, and like because of that, like I was able to like start driving when I was like 15 and a half.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was-
Yeah.
And I was able to like do like all these like little things that kind of like in a way makes you grow up a lot faster than you should be.
Right.
But I mean, I'm grateful
Some responsibility.
for that. You know what I mean?
Did it start off as like a weekend thing, or were you there during the week after school, or what?
After school.
Oh, okay.
After school all weekend.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
that's dope that you were so involved. I mean, you probably didn't know it at that time, but subconsciously you were so involved in the community. You know, back then, being the Epidemic was so big. I mean, it was during that era.
It was
I
the
mean,
only thing.
It was the only skate shop.
Yeah.
You know, we would wake up at like 6 in the morning to go for that
5
sell
o'clock
on
to get in
Saturday.
line.
You know, like
That's right.
you know, so it's crazy to be in that and know that whole demographic and kind of grow up with that whole demographic, like, you know. And now instead of going to Epidemic, now they're coming here, you know, drinking your guys' beer, bro. That's
cool.
dope. That's dope. You know, to see that, you know, I guess maturity and growth.
Well, I think like that kind of segue into like what LP, like I think I've told Sam many times where I was like, dude, like I want the brewery to be
Hey,
Get it. We need to get an ad on that thing.
for real.
I
Should do an interview on that thing.
I think I've told Sam many times, it's like when he would ask me like, what do you want out of like this? And I remember telling him like, I really want to make a spot where like, whether you want to come drink or not, or you just want to swing by and say hello, like that skate shop
Yeah.
used to have that like that feeling to it where
Right.
whether you had a buck or not, you just walk in there, say hi to everybody.
True that.
Makes you feel like
Well, you're welcome.
you're welcome.
Like that.
Exactly.
That's right.
You're part of something.
And like
you know?
that's what I really want to keep going here. It's just like if you're just walking down the street, just swing by, man. Like say hi. I don't know.
I think that's what kind of got us here, because that's what attracted David. I felt like from the beginning, he would tell me about how he would just come in here and just talk.
Yeah.
And just talk to you guys and like just kind of pick your brain and just ask questions. And it was during the beginning phase of Selected Series, so he would always tell me like, dude, it's cool. I can just go in there and hang out, have a beer, not have a beer. You know, you get good combos out of it.
Great conversations. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do
We've
that, bro.
got I think we've got a lot of ideas too, just from you being here, from the times that
Yeah.
I've been here
Yeah.
too. We've got ideas that we've actually made happen, and some that like we hope to
Well,
make happen.
Check it. The first time I came here, I sat down with Sam and I talked to him for like an hour. Just talked to him. And I was like Oprah, asking him questions about stuff. And he's like, hey, bro, you should be. I was like, hey, you know what? I do have a podcast. And so like it kind of just, snowballed. And then Ray got dragged along. He's like, all right, cool. I'll sit down with you guys. But Sam was just adamantly not about it, though.
You know what? That's how it usually starts. That's how it usually starts, and then we have to explain to our list or to our guests that we can edit this stuff. Like if we can chop it up, we can whatever, get rid of anything you want us to get rid of. But usually once we get the conversation flowing, it just like mellows out and it's cool, and the nerves go away. So
No, you guys been great. You guys shared a lot of insight,
Heck yeah.
a lot of inspirational stuff.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people have been looking forward to this podcast or this episode, and they're very
Definitely.
they're gonna be very happy to,
Yeah, I
to
agree.
hear all this stuff.
For sure.
No, yeah, I mean, we appreciate you guys. I mean, like I mentioned before, like, we're just not, like, in front of the camera.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
like Sam joked about earlier, like, you should have literally just hosted our wives.
Yeah,
They would have.
Nope. But
They would have hit every single thing.
Sam has a great
down the
voice,
line.
so do you hear him? He
both
sounds
do.
like he could read you a book, like an audible book.
Right. Like an audible book.
Yeah, it's great. He has a great voice.
I've always been told I have a face for radio.
Yeah, there you go.
No, seriously, I think like when we first started the podcast, the last thing we thought about was being in front of the cameras. We were just thinking audio, and then when it's like, no, it makes sense to put this out on YouTube or like any video platform. And then I think we were nervous at first having the camera in front of us, but just, I mean, we're still just barely getting started, man. So I think eventually, like,
For us, what this whole thing means is to bring the community closer.
Right, right, right,
We don't matter. Like we're doing. Yeah, we're setting. We're putting in a lot of hours. We're dedicating. We're sacrificing, but our community matters a lot to us.
Yeah.
And it's growing, and a lot of people are coming, and there's a lot of nameless faces, and so we want to keep.
shining that light, right?
Yeah.
Shining that light on these.
Well, we appreciate you
entrepreneurs.
guys. Like, I mean, that means a lot. Like, you know, Sam and I we are like very like humble dudes that we get reminded time and time again that like we're doing something significant, but we don't look at it that way, you know, because of our upbringings and like what we do every single day. And but when you guys like do that, like, I'm not gonna lie, man, that makes us feel like super special and just kind of
you
like,
guys are
whoa,
very,
like,
yeah.
You guys are a staple in
You
the
know, so
community.
You're an example of
There's-
what a person should strive for, and
I kind of want to like volunteer to say something where just like when you were like asking about like starting a brewery, but just like more starting a business or whatever you want to do. It's just like it's kind of like easy and cliche to say that like, oh, just go for it, but you kind of have to, but you also have to really like reach out to like your friends and your family, because I mean, I'll speak for myself, not necessarily for Sam, but like that's what I did when Sam called me up one day and was just like, let's do a brewery. And he was like, don't worry about the money. We'll make it happen. I don't think he meant it as like I'll find the money, because we ended up going half and half on it. I think he meant it as like, get that out of your head.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's just do it. Like let's think of a name, let's think of a branding, let's think of what we want to do, where we want to put it, like all that stuff.
keep that
you know?
excitement going.
And like I think that's like what like Sam's like such a G for, because he was like the bigger brother, saying like, don't worry about the money, we'll figure about that later.
Yeah.
And it came down to like we signed the lease and we were like, oh, where are we gonna get the money from? And then we started asking all our friends and all our family, and it all came together, like, because it does. And like it's one of those things where like no one's gonna really be there or back you until you show them like this is what we're doing.
Wow.
You know,
that's what
So
happened
it's like,
with us too.
That's good advice, man. That's you just got to make that jump.
That's
You
right.
just got to take that leap, and I think that right there, what you just said, is awesome advice for
That's
the listener out there that's looking to get
Start
started or
any
make the
type of
first
business.
move.
Yeah.
Don't get too caught up into the roadblocks in your head or like the money or anything like that.
Into-
Just believe in what you're doing.
I'll be honest, that was my problem. Initially, I was like, whoa, I got super hyped. Oh, we could do this and we could do that, and like sponsors and yada, yada, yada. And then I just kept getting reminded by everybody that I came across, Luis and Renee especially. And shout out to Pablo. Our buddy of ours, he especially made it a point that it was about what we were doing, the process of getting people to sit down with us and talking and sharing their stories. And to be honest, that's what's leading my spear now. Like, that's what I'm focusing on. I don't care about anything else but to sit down and have those genuine conversations with people.
That's right.
And that everything else is falling into place.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys did. Wonderful.
Yeah, too many people have a ticophobia, which is like the fear of failure. And I think that goes with anything, with business, podcasts, everything. You know, being an artist, too many people are afraid to like dive in and do the whole thing. And I think everybody on this podcast is an example of going against that whole ticophobia thing of not being afraid of failure. Because,
But I think it's okay to have that, man. Like, I still have it every day. Like,
it's that fire under your.
Yeah, I mean, I've told Sam before, just like one day I'm just like super happy, and then like the next day he'll call me out like, "What's up, dude? Like, why are you like bumming?"
Yeah.
And I'll tell him, dude, like I'm just like scared that like tomorrow's not gonna be
the
way it was last week. You know what I mean? And like that keeps the fire going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree, man. It's.
That's
I think you guys are still doing a dope job. How many months have you guys been open?
Shit.
4
It'll
months.
be 4 on Saturday, baby.
4 months.
That's what I told you guys.
Still a new
4
boy.
to infinity.
Yeah.
You guys are definitely making an impact out here, man. Whether you know it or not, you guys are really making an impact from an outsider's point of view. Like, I know you guys are always here, but as an outsider, definitely to me, you're making an impact out here.
Definitely.
Well, it's contagious. That's why I'm always here. So,
Yep.
I'm gonna keep coming till they kick me out.
So you get 86.
Until you get 86. So, all right, something I always ask our guests is if you guys can go back in time and give advice to an older version of yourself, what advice would you give?
Younger version of yourself.
Yeah, younger version.
That 20-year-old Sam writing on that. What was it? What was it called, Ray?
The Muni?
The Muni?
The
I was 28.
28. Oh, okay.
No, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit older than you guys, and I can honestly say that for many years, a lot of my friends and family are like, Sam, like, what are you doing with yourself, you know? And not necessarily like being negative, but just kind of saying like, you know, like, when are you going to put it all together? And I kind of was just like, you know what? I'm going to get there.
You were brewing on it.
Yeah, it was slowly, and that's not just me personally. I would just say, like, to a younger version of myself or someone who's, you know, slightly younger, that like, don't worry if it hasn't come together yet. That's right. You know, it will. That's if you want it to.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Man, for me, like, I'm actually gonna tell like my older self, like, just enjoy this ride, because I feel like, to me, this has been, as of like last year, this has been insane.
Yeah.
So
it's a dream.
I'm just gonna try to let this ride for as long as possible and enjoy it, and try to bring all my friends and family along with it, and just take it day by day. You know,
man.
Dope,
yeah,
man.
That's great. Very cool. Well, you guys want to get into what you guys have coming up? I know you mentioned the grand opening this weekend, which is going to be phenomenal. Like, I'm excited for you guys. I'll be here. It's going to be a good time. Anything else you guys have going on? Do you want to speak on that a little bit more?
Collaborations. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a selected series collaboration beer coming out
Yes,
sometime in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I don't know exactly when, but
It's coming.
it's coming.
No, yeah, I think that's gonna be like the theme. We're always gonna be working with the community.
That's right.
And this valley is big, man. Like, I think by the time we go across the spectrum to the east side, I think it's time to like
Restart.
it, you know, and do it again and perfect it. But I mean, in terms of like Las Palmas, man, like, I think we found a beautiful home here, like this spot specifically. We want to stay here, and I think there's a way for Sam and I to work smarter, if you will, and we'll grow within, but we plan on staying here for a minute.
Yeah.
You know?
Dope, man.
I think getting like friends involved, they're super creative and they're super motivated, and you know, like right now this operation literally runs on Sam and I. Like, we're here fucking 9 in the morning till 1 in the morning, rinse and repeat 7 days a week. So it's gonna be fun to like 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now,
Right.
have like grow our team and be able to bring in like, oh, what would you like? You're good at online store stuff. You're good at events. You're good at, and just like grow this team. And like, I think this building can actually like hold a lot of weight. So we probably won't move and get bigger, but we'll get bigger within this space. And I'm excited to see like who becomes a part of this team. You know,
That's
like,
cool. That's wonderful.
Use your resources,
use our resources, exactly.
So go ahead and plug your social media handles and all that.
At LasPalmasBrewing.com for everything.
There you go.
For
Instagram, all
everything.
that.
That's
Nice.
it.
So they could get all this wonderful merch on the
Yes,
social
sir.
media or come here,
and
right?
And I will physically box it for you
Go.
and skate it over to UPS down the block.
Blood,
There
sweat,
you
and
go.
tears.
There you
That's
go.
right.
Before we cut, I just want to do a shout out to Julius. He's such a
Yes, sir.
great
Spirit
engineer,
made
producer.
in the building.
Though he's a one of a kind man, and thank you.
Yeah,
Sir.
this guy's creating
sir.
masterpieces.
Yes, sir. And shout
This
out
guy's
to
a
Curling
legend.
Cable. Shout out to Curling
Yes, sir,
Cable for
definitely.
sponsoring us with these wonderful cables.
I just want to thank you guys for having us. Honestly, really enjoyed meeting you
Same.
all, and honestly, like Ray said, we're kind of humbled by all of this, and all we want to do is keep doing what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
right.
That's important, man. Keep doing what you're doing. It worked.
We'll
We got
be here
you
to
here.
support. Definitely.
Definitely. Well, with that being said, we want to thank Sam and Ray, two ambitious entrepreneurs out here in the Valley, getting it done. Come to Las Palmas Brewing, get some beer, get some wine,
They always have
get
different
some
food,
merch.
right?
They got food
Oh yeah.
Wine shot.
Shout out.
and wine shots. That's for the wine shot. It's nice.
Yes, sir.
Well, cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night. We out.
It's a wrap.